good morning everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here coming to you from the Beehive. It's a noisy morning again. My neighbors are doing some work on their new house, so bear with me. I hope there's not too much of a noise in the background. Hopefully it's just capturing the noise of my voice. Today we are going to be doing another Casing Tuesday card because it's Tuesday, and every Tuesday my downline Catalina and we case a card from one of the current catalogs, and we case a card from one of the current catalogs, and today's card is from the annual catalog. And then we post it on our blogs, and we post it on our Facebook group, which is called Casing Tuesday. And we hope that you will join us in this group, because what we do is we post the card and then everyone can join in. You can take the card that we case. Case is just a fancy acronym for copy and share everything. And that just means that we are copying a card from the catalog. When we copy it, you can copy it exactly, you can copy it and make a few changes, or you can copy it and really change it up. So that is up to you. When you copy a card, you actually learn quite a bit, because you are using someone else's design as a starting point. So it's kind of neat, because often it's not a card that you chose, so you're like getting out of your comfort zone. So even for an experienced stamper like myself, it's a great way to learn. So without further ado, I am going to walk over to my workstation, and I will share with you what today's card is, and then I'll show you my card, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. And my card, hi Joyce, it's so nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome. So today I'm going to show you how I do the masking technique with this card. And a lot of people have trouble with the masking technique. It's not a hard technique, it's just to get it done just right requires a little bit of tweaking sometimes. So I'm going to show you how I do it. The card is not hard, but oh, good morning, Joyce. Thank you for saying good morning. The card is not a hard card. It's just about getting the masking portion of it done correctly. And I think once you see the technique in action, hopefully you'll want to try it at home, and let me know if you do the masking technique. Let me know afterwards how it turns out. I hope I can help some of you that have trouble with this technique. So let's walk over to my workstation over here, and I'm going to flip my camera around. There we are. Okay, so today's card is from the annual catalog, and it is from page 18, and it is this card right here. Now, this card might be a card that people might overlook. It's got a gray background, you can't see the full card, and you know, it's kind of hard to see. I don't have the stamp set, otherwise I probably would have recreated it so you could see it a little better. If you go to my blog, I actually have a better picture of it, or on the Casing Tuesday Facebook group, is when we pulled this picture from the catalog images, there was actually the full-size card, so you can see it a little bit better. So that's the card in the catalog, and then this over here is the card that I created with it. So hey, let me just put these like kind of side by side so you can kind of get the idea of, you know, what I did with it. So instead of the balloon, I took the ice cream cone and I put it up the right hand side. I had to make my layers a little bit larger because my ice cream cone extended a little bit further, and my greeting had to be a little further down the card, but it's still kind of the basis of this card, like having a whisper white layer on top, a designer series paper layer behind, the two kind of on an angle, a little bit of bling with the rhinestones. So we've kind of got the same basic idea of the card. So I really had a lot of fun working with the Cool Treats stamp set. And for those of you who are not familiar with Cool Treats, I really do think it's kind of cool. This is the stamp set out of the catalog. Let me Let me shove this aside so we can get a better view of that. This is the Cool Treats stamp set. And it comes with framelits. And we're not going to be using the framelits that much today. In fact, with the masking technique, you don't necessarily even, let me see if I can get scoot this like this. With the framelits, you don't actually need the framelits for this particular project. I'll show you how to do the masking technique without it. But if down the road, I will be doing some cards with both of them together. So if you're thinking of getting this stamp set, I would recommend getting them both at the same time so you can save 10%. Because when you buy them as a bundle, you save 10%. So that's always nice. Although you can do this card today with just the stamp set. I'm going to show you how to do it both ways. So there is that. So let me pop my little camera in my holder here. See if I can get it set up right. Okay. Good. I think I've got my blog up top here, cubiesquest.com. Afterwards, if you need a supply list, I'll have that all on my blog. I'm also going to post a link to this Facebook Live video afterwards so you can access it from there. But that is my blog right there. So to start off this card, let's do the easy part first. So you start off with a card base, and I'm going to do a tent fold. And this card base is going to be in mint macaron. You can choose your own colors if you want, but mint, I love chocolate chip mint ice cream. So to do the card base in mint made me happy. So I cut my card base to 11 inches by 4¼ inches, and then I scored it in half at the 5½ inch mark. And then once you've scored it, all you have to do is fold it along the score line. And I always like to take my bone folder and use that to, oh, hello Lisa, and hello Kathy. I looked away for a moment and both of you are here. I hope I didn't miss anyone else. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm just creating the card base. We are working on our Casing Tuesday card. We just started. So that is my card base. Then I'm going to need a piece of designer series paper. And luckily the Cool Treats bundle, it's a part of a whole suite. And it has some matching designer series paper. And this paper is called the Tasty Treats designer series paper. And I cut this piece to 3½ inches by 4½ inches. So I'm just going to lay that on there for now. We're going to do all the putting together at the end. Then our main layer, and this is the main work of the card, I'm going to use a piece of Whisper White, and I'm cutting it to the exact same dimensions as my designer series paper piece. So it is 3½ by 4½. And so let's set this aside so it has some work room. All right, we're doing the masking technique today. And so to start off with the card, I'm going to take my Flirty Flamingo ink pad, and I'm going to take this ball of ice cream, and I'm going to ink it up. We always start by doing the full image first. I don't know if that makes any sense. It will make more sense in a second. But I'm going to stamp this up at the top right corner, like that. Then we're going to need to create a mask, and we can do that in one of two ways. If you don't have the framelits, you're just going to take a Post-it note. This is the sticky side. I'm going to put the sticky side down for a moment. I'm going to put the sticky side towards me. I'm going to ink up my little ball of ice cream again, and I'm going to stamp it down here. I want the sticky side towards me because that's going to be where I am masking off. It will make sense in a moment. So I want to stamp down here onto my mask like that. Then let me grab some scissors. Okay, so I've got my scissors, And I don't need to cut this whole piece out. I just need the bottom part to mask off. So don't bother cutting all the way around. I'm just going to cut along this scallop edge. Let me see if I can get that in the camera. Okay, so I want to cut off right along the edge. I want to completely make sure that that whole image, there's no white space or there's no post-it note showing. I want to make sure I get right along that incline when I'm cutting. It's hard for me to cut like this because I'm kind of holding my head at a weird angle, so I'm not doing a particularly good job. But, okay. So there is a mask that you can use for this one right here. Let me also show you how to do a mask with the framelits. So let me just set this aside for a second. Oh, sorry, I'm bumping the camera. So let me just bring in my big shot for a second. And this is the, let me get the exact name right, it's called the Frozen Treats Framelits. And so we have a matching framelit, and I've got my magnetic platform on here. And again, we're going to take a post-it note, peel one of these off, and I'm putting the sticky side towards me again, okay? And then I'm going to put my framelit on here. I'm going to want to make sure that at least some of it is going to be, have the sticky part down towards the bottom. So I'm going to put it fairly close to the edge, and then I'm just going to cut this out. Okay, let me get that out. All right, so this is mask number 2. So you can do the mask in either of those two ways. Let me just stick this aside. Okay, back to this, and I've got my mask. So here are the differences between the two masks. We have inked that up in Flirty Flamingo, and I want to change colors, so the best way to do that is to quickly clean things off with a Stampin' Scrub. So this is the way we clean our stamps. One side has this little image with the raindrops, and the other side has a little sunshine. So you take your Stampin' Mist and you spray on the raindrop side, and you take your stamp and you clean it, and then you dry it. Now, any of the red inks, they stain your photopolymer quite a bit. So after a while, your stamp may just look red, but you do want to clean it off if you're going to use a new color, because you want to make sure that the staining, it's just staining, not actually ink sitting on top of there, so that you have nice clean colors, not muddied colors. Then you're going to take your Mint Macaron ink pad. Let me see here, I'm kind of, let me scoot myself down a little bit. I'm kind of cluttering my right side here. So I'm going to use both of these masks so you can see how this goes. So I'll use the first mask that I made, and I'm going to put it right on top of the ball I already stamped. But I'm not going to put it directly right on top, because that's a big mistake that people make. See, so if you can see that, I'm holding it up to the camera. I am leaving myself a sliver of what I stamped underneath showing, because if I put it right on the edge, there is going to be a white line in between the ice cream balls, so we don't want that. So let's ink this up in Mint Macaron, and let me grab my hand over on this side, and then I'm just going to kind of decide, I want this, I'm going to put about 1/2 inch of the ball onto the mask part. Okay, and then I'm going to lift this off. Okay, so I did a pretty good job. I was hoping I kind of would have a little bit of a gap, so I could show you what to do with that. But I'm gonna maybe do that at the end to see how you can tweak things a little bit if it's not perfect. So then you can take that off, and you can see that these ice cream balls are really close together, which is what I wanted. Then we also need to mask off this ball one more time because we want to do the ice cream cone. So this is the mask that I use that I die cut. It is a little smaller than the actual ice cream ball. They do this so if you're going to be stamping and then cutting it out, it makes sure that you're not going to have a white edge around the outside. So when you're doing this, just make sure you kind of center it on your ice cream ball. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to take the next color, which is, let me move that out of the way. It is So Saffron. I thought that would make a really great cone color. And then we're going to take this stamp, which is our cone stamp. Let me hold this up to the camera one more time so you can see. This time there you can see the gap a little bit better because the colors are a little bit, they vary a little bit more. So with my cone stamp, I'm trying to figure out how to get my hands into the right spot. So I probably just want to go up like maybe 1/8 of an inch onto my mask. I'm going to wiggle that a bit and then lift it off. Oh, and my mask came right off with it, which is absolutely fine because that's what I was going to do next. So you can see how that everything is kind of right next to each other. So that's kind of the look that we want. So the next thing we're going to do, I added a little bit of extra re-inker at the top right here. I wanted my So Saffron to be kind of a nice light So Saffron, so I didn't ink my whole pad, but it has this waffle texture that I can add to it, and I wanted it to be a little bit more So Saffron-y, so I put an extra bit of So Saffron up at the top, just so that portion would be a little darker. And then I'm just going to hover it over my cone, and then when that looks good, you can add that on. You can see that that has kind of some cool texture going on. So next, what do we need? Oh, we got to do the chocolate. We have to do chocolate. Okay. So we've got, I tried this with different colors of browns, and the Early Espresso worked the best because it's a really dark color and it covers the other colors better than, let's say, chocolate chip or soft suede. So that's why I chose this particular brown. And then we're going to need this stamp, which is kind of just the chocolate the chocolate dip over the top. And let me just ink that up. And then we're just going to hover that over the Flirty Flamingo ball. Come down like that. Ooh, doesn't that look good? I love it. All right, and then because I like chocolate chip mint ice cream, we didn't have chips, but these little sprinkles kind of give the same idea. And then I'm just going to stamp that 3 times. So I'm going to start way over on the far corner so I can get all of my sprinkles on. Let me twist this a little bit. And then let's stamp this one more time. Let's see how I can best get this on here. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now we have chocolate chip mint ice cream. Oh, and then we need to do one more stamping thing. We need to stamp Happiest Birthday on here. And there's some other greetings in the stamp set. I love the greetings in the stamp set. They're just so fun. But I made this one, I'm turning into a birthday card. So I'm just going to nest this down kind of around the cone there, and I'm going to stamp that like that. Oh, hello. Hello, Kathy. Oh, yes, you're already here, but yummy. Yes, it is yummy. Absolutely. So that is the stamping. That is the hard part of the card. Now, before I put these away, let me just show you what happens if the masking's not done perfectly. And then I'll finish off the card. I've got another piece of Whisper White here in the same dimensions as before. I'm just going to clean off my stamp really quickly off the side of the camera. Let's bring back in my Flirty Flamingo. And let's do this again, and let's not do quite as good a job because I want to show you how you can fix things. So that is the Flirty Flamingo. And let's bring back in my mint macaron. And let's bring back this little mask that I die cut. And this time, let me not do a great job. Okay, so I'm stamping this. And this time I'm gonna try not to press down quite as hard along my edge. When I do this normally, I give it a little bit of extra push. Okay, so you can see when you push it down hard, the ink makes better contact around the surface. This is what some of you might have happen when you try the masking technique. If you don't push hard enough with that second stamp, or if you don't have the mask far enough from the edge, you might get this little portion down here that hasn't stamped, and that's just annoying. So I'll take my mint macaron ink pad, and it has a soft bendy lid, so if you squeeze it like this, you're going to create a pool of ink on your lid. I'm going to grab, sorry, I'm out of microphone, but I'm going to grab a blender pen. And your blender pen is your best friend when you are fixing these. You could also use a marker, but the problem with the marker is that the marker is always going to be full strength. Your ink pad, depending on how inky it is, it's going to be different strengths at different points. It might be super inky and the mint macaron might be really intense, or my ink pad right now is kind of moderately inky, so it's kind of like a medium mint macaron, if I can say that correctly. So when I'm doing it with a blender pen, I'm going to pick it up, and the blender pen isn't going to be as intense as the marker. So it can help you fix it without being too intense. So let me open up the lid, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit of mint macaron on my blender pen. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to kind of blend in that white space. And I'm even going to go a little bit up onto the edge of the Flirty Flamingo, because on this side it actually went up onto the edge a little bit. So I'm just kind of brushing over top and fixing some of that white space so that it doesn't look quite as bald right there. I don't know if you can see, but I think that looks a lot better. And you could work it a little bit more, go just a little bit more on the edge so there's a little bit of a darker edge like there is on the left-hand side. But I think that actually fixed it up quite a bit. So that's how you would proceed, and you would do the same thing with your next layer if you're so saffron. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I'm glad you liked that tip. You can do the same thing if your cone doesn't stamp 100%. But one of the things with the masking technique is I would just take a piece of Whisper White. I recommend you could start off with computer paper, but Whisper White is actually a really great cardstock to stamp on because it gives you a nice clear image. So once you've tried it a couple of times on computer paper, switch over. Well, thank you, Lisa. I'm glad that I showed you something you haven't seen yet. Then I would switch over to the Whisper White. I would try it on there and try it a few times. Practice the masking technique because you will need to practice it a few times so that you get the right distance of your mask on your already stamped piece. I love this stamp set for the masking technique because you can fill in nicely with a blender pen afterwards. It has nice, clean, bold images, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, moving right along. Let's finish off this card. I've lost my pieces. Okay, so to finish off this card, got the pieces. So I am just going to kind of decide how I want this, and I kind of want it like on an angle. So I'm actually, let me put this on the card to make sure it fits. So okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to do it something like that. So let me take my Whisper White piece and put some Tombow, my favorite adhesive, as some of you already know. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I'm looking at the top and the bottom and the sides because I want kind of about the same amount of designer series paper showing on all of those. Okay, and then I'm going to put some Tombow on the back of this designer series paper piece. And see, I probably shouldn't have stuck the glue down onto my cardstock when I did the Whisper White piece because I think some glue transferred over, but I think we're going to cover that. But maybe when you're gluing it on that first layer, you might want to do it off of the piece. And then you're just going to add that on there like that. And then let's add some bling. We've got some rhinestone jewels here. I like to take my paper piercing tool and use it to transfer the jewels because I just put them on the tip like that. And then you just put them down on your project, and when you like where it's looking like you can move it all around, when you like where you have it, you just press down and it stays. It's the easiest way to transfer these little guys without trying to get them on your fingertips. And then I like that about there. And then you can push that down. And you can add some more rhinestone jewels, but I'm just kind of trying to mimic the original card. So there it is. There is the card. Here's the card that I made earlier, but it's just a really easy card to make based on the card in the annual catalog. So it's this card right here on page 18. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you like the card. This card is on page 18 of the annual catalog. And if you want to join us and case with us, please join our Casing Tuesday Facebook group. I am going to flip the camera around one more time. Okay. Flipping, not flipping. Okay, there we go. Hello, I'm back. So please join us on our Casing Tuesday Facebook group. I would love to see what you design with that original card from the annual catalog. Use your creativity, use your imagination. We have lots of different stamps. You could stamp a flower, you could do a different type of balloon. The hot air balloons are really cool. I was thinking of doing it with a hot air balloon. So you could do it in many different ways. And then if you post it over there, then you can show me and you can show my downline Catalina, and we can comment on your card. And it's kind of a neat thing because we do it every single Tuesday. So it's kind of becoming a tradition. The Cool Treats bundle is 10% off if you buy it as a bundle rather than individual pieces. So just remember, even though you could do this card with just the stamp set today, if you're thinking down the road you might want the framelits, buy them as a bundle because it's a little cheaper. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for coming to watch today. There will be a supply list on my blog, and that's QBsQuest.com. I'm also going to post it with the video. If you order something through me, you can get a free tutorial. And right now I have my Hershey's chicken egg tutorial. That's just one of the tutorials you can choose free with a purchase. You want to see it? I know some of you probably already seen it on my blog. Sorry for the movement. I'm going to move over to my buffet over here. So let me just, I've got my little guys. Oh, let me, okay. Here are my little guys. This is my little collection. This is the tutorial I did for this month, but you can choose any of my tutorials when you purchase from me. This is a Hershey's egg and the chicken, and they are both on the same tutorial. And so those are kind of cool. Let me around. There we go. I'm back. And let me think. There is one more thing. Yeah, join us on the Casing Tuesday Facebook group. I will post the link to that with this video. So if you want to join us, please do. Catalina and I have already posted our cards, and I'm sure some of you will join in today. We always have a few people join us, and we're hoping to get a whole lot more because it's so cool to see all the different samples, all the different ways that you can remake a card. And when we do this, it helps us with our stamping. Oh, what's going on with the house build? Lisa asked. Okay, I will show you. All right, let me turn my camera around. Just give me a second. All right, so the house build over here today, let's see. Okay, today they've got a skating rink going on. So we are right next to the Charles River, and this house being right on the river always had some problems with flooding. In fact, we've even had a flood in our basement before. But so when they built this house, they've actually dug a hole. It is at a little bit below the river level, so it keeps filling up with water. So they have to use pumps to get rid of the water. They have already poured the footing. It keeps filling with water. They're waiting for the footing to dry, and then they're going to do the what do you call it? The foundation. So that will be up next. But right now we had such a cold weekend. It froze, and so they weren't able to work. They have to have a few days where the concrete is above freezing temperature, so they can't do any more of the foundation work right now. So they're just, I think today we're going to get above freezing, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do any more, but in a few weeks, I'm sure we're going to start to see a whole lot more action over there. It's going to be really cool to watch. I always love seeing a house go up, and my neighbors are really great. You know, I know it's a pain to have the noise next door, but they're such nice neighbors, and we live in such a great neighborhood. Like, we just kind of all get along, so it's great here. So anyway, let me flip myself. That's what's going on in the house. Not a whole lot this week, just a little bit of noise, and hopefully they'll get the foundation poured soon, and then they can move on. Oh, it's 70 degrees, Lisa. Okay, that's just bragging. I'm sorry, but that's just not nice. I think this morning when I walked, it was like right at freezing, and I wore my long down coat. The south really softened me up when I lived down there. So it was just a little bit too cold for me up here after living down in Memphis for 12 years. So anyway, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you get to do some stamping today. I know I'm going to be stamping later on, and you'll want to see my tutorial later this week. This tutorial, I'm not going to give it away what it is. It's actually one of my customers brought this to me, and she wanted to make this project, but we didn't have the product for it anymore. So I am going to show you how to make that project using our current supplies. So I think I'll probably have that up. I don't know if it will be up tomorrow because I have a few other things to do today. So probably it will be up on Thursday, but it's a 3D tutorial. So I'm sure you guys will like that. So that will be, I will post that on my blog. We'll post it on the Facebook group too. I'm not going to do a Facebook Live for that. I will be doing just a regular YouTube video, but it will be hopefully it will be a good video, and you guys will be able to follow it and create it. So that's what's down the pipe. And then next week, you're going to want to stick around next week because I have a cool 3D project for next week. So just stay tuned for that. And I will be back here again next Tuesday with another Casing Tuesday card. So I hope you'll pop in on the Facebook group and join me. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.